In this video, I wanted to go over a new 3D workflow I've been playing around with. It's actually done completely on the iPad. I first start with 3D modeling in an app called Forger. This app is owned by Maxon, which makes Cinema 4D. And what I'm doing here is using my fingers basically to sculpt. I started out with a sphere, and I'm just kind of sculpting something with that. I'm going to make a squash or a gourd. And then I'm going to, after I model it, I'm going to open it up in Procreate and texture it. But in this program, what I'm doing is using some of the tools up at the top. You can see there's different functions there. And then I'm adjusting the brush size and the brush strength with the two sliders on the left side. So the top one you can see is brush size, and I'm making it larger in some instances, and I can turn the strength up and down using the other slider. Here I'm using the Crease Tool, and I'm trying to make these lines, these creases in this gourd. You know, you can undo just by tapping, double tapping with two fingers. And it's a pretty quick way of sculpting. For me, it's not super precise, but it's just kind of quick and easy. I've seen some really detailed and kind of crazy sculpts from Forger. I'm still a little rougher on the edges, but it's fun for me. You know, so I'm going to switch tools here and go up to the pull tool, and I can pull the stem up at the top. Rotate around the object, switch tools here and kind of flatten the edges. So it's like sculpting or painting almost. And again, it's so immediate because I'm just using my fingers on the iPad. I can get in here and do some detailing with the Crease Tool, the really small brush. And you know, when I'm ready to export this, I'm going to go to Export, 3D Model, and I'm going to save this out as a USDZ file type. And that's going to let me open it up in Procreate. So save it onto my iPad in the Forger folder, and then I'll import this in Procreate. From there, I can just start painting with all the Procreate brushes. I can navigate around this 3D form. And change the colors. I'll fill the whole thing in, and then start to paint some texture with some rough brushes. I can also, again, play with the opacity or the strength of the brush. You can see the sliders, the vertical sliders on the left. The bottom one is the opacity, and the top one is the size. So it's very similar to the Forger app. I feel like it's a really good combo. You can add other layers on top, so you don't have to be working in just one layer. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and give it some texture, make it seem somewhat rough or a little bit more organic. I'm gonna add a new layer and paint that kind of stem at the top. Adding a little bit of roughness and shadow. And then go in and erase sections to clean up that edge a little bit. That's one reason I made another layer for just that green part. Yeah, and when I'm ready to share this or export this, I could save it as a flat image. I could make an animated, like a rotating animation with it, but I'm actually going to open this up in 3D, and I'm going to go to View AR. And so it's going to prepare this model and allow me to bring it into my camera. And so now I can see it in the real world. I'm placing it with some real pumpkins and other gourds, and I can scale it up. I can move it around in space, and once I like where I place it, I can walk around it, and you can see it kind of track in the space. This was a quick process of sculpting in Forger and painting all the textures in Procreate and viewing it in AR all on the iPad.